Morning guys, welcome back and let's start. So in the last class, in the first session of your AWS and different AWS with the different Terraform, we just gone through some of the concepts about us. What is meant AWS and how AWS will be used. Before that, we just studied about how we can go through the concept of uh, how to learn the cloud computing. What is the process? What is the step-by-step process to learn the cloud computing? And later we have gone through the summary of the configuration, that is what are the different certifications that are available, and then who can do this certificate, who can do the course. These are the concepts that we have seen. But today we are not going with the same concept, we are going with a new concept. We are going with the technical concept that we have discussed. So in the technical concept, what we are going to discuss. So the first one is today's agenda. First of all, why cloud? So before you know about why cloud, you need to understand why we need to go with the cloud configuration. What is the necessity of going with the cloud? Before knowing about that, you need to understand the main concept of what is meant by on-premises environment. On-prem. So if you understand this on-prem, then you go with the cloud computing. Why everyone is going for the cloud computing? So what is meant by on-prem? Next one is what are the characteristics of on-prem? So characteristics, or else what you can say, characteristics of on-prem. These concepts we will be learning, and then we will be going with the is my voice is clear, audible for you? First of all, my voice is audible for you?
Yeah, yes.
Now the next one is characteristics of on-prem environment. What is meant by on-premises environment and how we are going to configure this on-prem. These are the concepts that we are going through the concept of your cloud. So after you understand what is the characteristics of the on-prem environment, you will have a clear-cut understanding about what happens in the cloud. So by learning all these concepts, we will be diving back into the uh, virtualization. So before that, so first of all, we will learn about this on-prem environment. So what is meant by an on-prem? So on-prem means, here you can see on-premises computing, also known as on-prem and on-premises infrastructure, refers to the traditional model of deploying and managing the computing resources within the organization's own physical infrastructure. What is the meaning of this? So each and every company, suppose if at all if you are working in an organization, if you are working in an organization, then what you are going to do here is, so in that organization you will be having your own computing resources. So if you are an employee of an organization, then you will have computers in your company. You will have the computers, and you will have one computer that is interconnected to the other computer. If you can see, or if at all if you are working in any organization, you can clearly see this. Okay. Uh, so when you enter into your company, in your company, you will have your own computers, your own networking connectivity. All these are available. So that is what they are saying, deploying and managing the computing resources. So after that, so that company will be relied on certain projects. So each and every on-premises environment is relied on certain projects. So any IT service company, now what you will be doing, you are a student right now. You are a student right now, and after completing this course, after completing the course, then you will be attempting to give the interviews. Once you attempting to give the interviews, you will be selected for a particular for a particular company. Now, what is the work that you have to do? So in that company, in that company, that there will be some projects. So normally you will be joining into an IT service company. So IT service companies are the companies which will provide the services for the end users, or else services for the non-IT service companies. There are two types of companies. One is IT company and the other one is non-IT company. Now, this IT companies for survival, what they are going to do here is, for the survival, what they will be doing here is, they will be providing the services to the non-IT service companies. What are these non-IT service companies? Like your banks, hospitals, or else training institutes, colleges. These are all comes under the non-IT service company. For example, if I want to, if I am a banking user. Okay, I am a banking user. Suppose I have an account in the ICICI Bank or else HDFC Bank, any one of the bank. Now, previously, what we used to do here is, previously what we used to do here is, we used to go for the banks. We used to go for the banks, and then we used to deposit the money and withdraw the money. So depositing and withdrawal is happening through the banking only. Now, after a while, what happened? Because of this very vast expansion of the internet, very vast expansion of the internet, so everybody are habituated for the internet applications. Internet applications. Now, suppose I have a bank. I have an account in the bank called as SBI. SBI is a government-related bank. You all know that SBI is a government-related bank, and that bank and the users of that bank need to have an account in the bank, and the users need to have the internet banking. Why? Because every bank is providing the internet banking, and this bank should be meet that standards. So to provide the internet banking for the users, the bank will not create the application. Why? Because they don't know how to create the application. They are not from the IT background. They are completely from the non-IT background. So the bank did not know how to create the application. So now what they will be doing, they will be going into a IT service company. When they approach to the IT service company, the IT service company will develop the application and create the application, and that application will be stored inside a server. So what I am saying here, when the non-IT company approaches to an IT company, the IT company will be having its own on-premises computing environment. That is what they are saying. Managing the computing resources within an organization's own physical infrastructure, that is called as on-prem. Now, in on-premises computing, all hardware, servers, networking equipment, and software are owned, operated, maintained by the organization itself, usually located in its own data center or server rooms. Inside any company, if at all, if you are an IT employee, if you are an IT employee, or else if you are working professional, now you are just joined as a student, that's okay. But if you are a working professional, I think you can see inside your company or else inside your office, there will be a room called as server room. If at all, if it is a very small company, then there will be a server room. If it is a startup company, then there will be a server room. Or else, if it is a very big company, if it is an MNC, then that MNCs will have their own data centers. The MNCs will have their own data centers. With the help of these data center, they can provide the services to the users. So who owned this? Obviously, the organization, who the company, whoever the company holds. Okay, that organization holds all these things. So what they are saying, in on-premises computing, all hardware, server, and networking equipment and software are owned and operated, maintained by the organization itself. Whatever the company is owning them, they will be maintaining the servers and all the things. So usually they are located in the data centers. So these servers, so if you can see, these are the racks. So here you can see this is the networking cabinet. So the networking cables are connected to the switches and to the routers. And here you can see there are some storages and CPU, NAS boxes, and this is another server rack. Okay, this is how your rack servers will be looking like. Inside that rack servers, you will have inside those racks, you will have the rack servers. So that is how the configuration will be done. Now, when you coming back to the next one, so what are the utilizations of the on-premises environment characteristics? The first and foremost one is ownership and the control. So who is owning the entire servers? Obviously, the company is owning. So within the on-premises computing, the organization has the complete ownership. So you have to purchase the servers and control over the infrastructure that includes hardware, software, and networking components. So whatever you are having, hardware, software, and networking components. So the company is the owner of the entire hardware component. So you don't need to worry about do we need to pay any rent for that and all the things. So everything is owned by the company. So here every ownership will be there and the total control will be there with the company. If you want to remove a server from the network, you can easily remove them. So you need to get a permission from that particular whatever the team that is. So from that team, if you get the permission, you can simply remove that. So you don't need to worry about any another thing. Okay, you will have the total control of the entire infrastructure. Okay, so the entire infrastructure will be in your hands. It will be in the system administrator hands, or else will be in the entire company hands. Next one is physical infrastructure. Organization need to invest in and manage their own physical infrastructure, including servers, storage devices, networking equipment, power and cooling systems, and physical security measures. So the physical infrastructure is completely the physical infrastructure. What are the physical infrastructure that is required for the company, for an organization? Entire thing has to be configured or else owned by the company itself. Sir, I did not understand what you are saying. So in a very simple words, I will try to frame it like this. For example, for example, you are having an organization, you are having a company, or else this company is having certain data center. As I already said you that each and every company will have some server rooms. If it is a very small company, if it is a startup company, the startup company will have the server rooms. If it is a very big company or else an MNC company, the MNC company will have the what I can say, they will have the data centers. So what is this data center? So huge number of servers are collaboratively or consolidate into one room or else one very big room. So then that is called as a data center. Huge number of servers, some thousand servers or some 1 lakh servers or 10 lakh servers. All these servers are collectively uh, created or else collectively installed inside a single room or else inside a space. Then that is called as a data center. Now, if you can see, this is a data center. Just try to understand this entire box is a data center. Inside this data center, we will have multiple racks. As I already shown you in this first diagram on the on-premises diagram, I just showed you the racks. So what they are saying in this point, you need to understand this point. Organization need to invest in and manage their own physical infrastructure, including servers, storage devices. So what is the meaning of that is, try to understand this point. So, for example, there is there is a rack, and inside this rack, there are multiple racks inside the data center. So here you will be having multiple racks. Now you got a project. Now you got a project from the from one of the non-IT background company. Now the point is, when you get a project from the non-IT background company, they want to install the servers. So they want their own server. So the IT company, whatever the IT company that is providing the services, whatever the IT company that is providing the services, that IT company has to provide the infrastructure for the non-IT service applications, whatever the application. Suppose a banking application has to be deployed, then who has to manage that? Obviously, whoever developed that application, the IT service company, whichever the IT service company that developed the application, they have to take the responsibility of maintaining and managing the application. So this application should be deployed on their own servers. So this service company, for example, take a name. I will take as a TCS company is there. Okay, this TCS company should take the responsibility of creating the application for the SBI bank, maintaining the application for the SBI bank, and installing that application inside the servers, installing that SBI bank application in the servers. So this TCS company will have their own data center called as TCS DC. Normally, data centers are termed as DCs. DCs are nothing but data centers. So there is a TCS DC. Inside this TCS DC, they will have huge number of racks. So like this, they will be having huge number of racks. Inside the racks, there will be huge number of servers. Inside the racks, there will be huge number of physical servers. Who has to maintain this? Obviously, uh, TCS company has to maintain them. So that is what they are saying. So who has to create the servers? TCS company employees, the administrators has to create the servers. They need to maintain the servers. They need to maintain the networking components of the servers. They need to maintain the storage of the servers. So servers will not have normal storage like your computers. In your computers, what you will have the hard disk. So in your computer, you will have the internal hard disk, so you can get the data very easily. But in the servers, for the servers, so there will be storage, separate storage equipment will be there. So for example, there is a sandbox. There are multiple sandboxes will be available inside the data center. So like this, there will be multiple sandbox. Sand means storage area network. So these sandboxes are interconnected with each other. One sandbox is interconnected with each other, and these servers, whatever the servers that are created in the data center, all these servers are connected to your sandboxes. So the storage is not an internal part for the servers. Of course, for servers there will be internal storage also, but maximum number of data center servers or else maximum number of servers that are there inside the data center, they will store the entire data in the sandboxes only. Inside the sandboxes, you will have hundreds and hundreds of hard disks. Hard disks will be available. Hard disks or SSDs, any storage disks will be available. So with the help of those storage disks, what they are going to do here is they can store the user data. Whatever the user providing the data is there, the entire user data will be stored inside this sandboxes. So this is how your entire infrastructure will be there, and who has to maintain that? Maintaining in the sense what they are saying here. Here you can clearly see this. Organization need to invest. They have to spend the money to purchasing the servers. They have to spend the money, and they have to manage the servers. Storage devices has to be purchased. Network equipment has to be purchased. Power. So 24 by 7, if the application should be running, if it is a production environment is nothing but live environment. So for example, there is an ICICI bank application is there. There is a banking application like ICICIbank.com. So this application should be running 24 by 7. 24 by 7. We don't know at what time the user will be logging into his account and trying to access the account. So what should be done? We have to be very cautious. We have to be very cautious, or else the IT service company has to be very cautious. And 24 by 7, this particular servers, whatever the servers that are holding this application, they should be live and up and running 24 by 7. They have to run. So for servers to running for 24 by 7, there should be power for 24 by 7. So power should be there, and you try to understand this. So if at all, if you are having a single computer in your home, if at all, if you are having some one computer, or else suppose in your office, if you are having some 10 computers, then only you require an AC. Without air condition, the computers won't be cooled down. So for that reason, we need to have the air condition. So suppose if when you go to the data centers, try to understand this. Inside the data center, how many servers will be there? As per the strategy, I am saying you that inside a data center, there will be some thousands and thousands of servers will be there. So if there are thousands and thousands of servers are available, now how much cooling they require? So huge amount of coolants are required, ventilators are required. So these are all the things that should be managed and invested by the IT service company only. That is what they are saying. So the on-premises, if at all, if you are having an on-premises environment, the servers, physical servers, storage devices, networking equipment, power and cooling systems, everything should be solely maintained and invested by the on-premises environment. So The next one is capital expenditure. So on-premises computing typically involves in the significant upfront capital. What is meant by upfront? Did anybody have an idea about upfront? So upfront means paying the entire money in the advance. So what is the meaning of that? If you want to purchase a server, if you want to purchase a server for your company, right now we are having some concepts called as EMIs and all the things. But before EMIs and all the things, we used to pay the entire amount at a time. We used to pay the entire amount at a time. Then that is called as upfront. Okay, so we need to have an upfront. What I can say, we need to pay the entire amount upfront, which means in the advance at the time of purchasing your infrastructure related equipment, you have to pay the entire amount. So that is called as upfront capital expenditure to purchase and set up the necessary infrastructure. The organization is responsible for the maintenance, upgrades, replacement of the hardware and software components over the time. For example, there is a system that is running. Now, suddenly there is a problem in the RAM. Suddenly there is a problem in the RAM. Who has to maintain that? Obviously, the company has to bear the expenditure. So, company has to provide the money for the system administrators to replace the RAM. Suppose there is a database. The database is completely filling. The storage is completely filling. Then they have to replace the storage. Then they have to replace the storage. So replacing of storage is nothing but replacing the hard disk. So the company has to replace the hard disk. So the expenditure has to be paid by the company itself. So this capital expenditure will be there. Okay. And the next one is maintenance and operation cost. So of course, in the cloud also we will paying, no, sir, if you ask like this, in cloud also we will be paying. Of course, we will be paying in the cloud, but how much we use for that only we will pay. But in the on-premises environment, we will be purchasing a RAM of some 64 GB and 128 terabytes of, 128 GB of RAM or also 1 terabyte of RAM. Of course, there is an availability of 1 TB of RAM also there. So like this, what we are going to do, we are going to purchase the RAMs and the CPUs at the upfront only. When we are purchasing all these things, the expenditure will be very huge. That is what they are saying, capital expenditure. Okay. So the next point that you need to understand here is maintenance and operations. Organization is responsible for the ongoing maintenance and monitoring. So that we already discussed. This includes in the tasks such as software updates, like security patches, hardware repairs, and performance optimization. What is the meaning of this? For example, there is a already we discussed about this. There is a server, and in this server we install an operating system called as Windows operating system. Windows operating system is running. So this operating system should have the licensing. So try to understand. Whenever I used to work for some companies, or else there is one of my friend companies there. So what happened in that company is, so he has explained the scenario like this to me. So he said me that we used to have actually that company is a very popular company which will be doing the VFX effects to the movies, to the large huge number of Hollywood movies, especially for example. Spider-Man No Way from the Home is one of the movie. So they have done some VFX effect to that particular movie. When he is sharing his experience, unfortunately they are using some cracked versions of the softwares. So what happens if you don't have the licensing for the softwares? So inside the company environment, in the computers, they are using some cracked versions of the software. They are not paying for the software, so they are using the softwares for free. Okay, when they are using the softwares for free, what happened here is there is a new employee in the company. He don't know what happens, but he is very new to the company. So what he has done is he just installed some updates. He just installed some updates and connected the all computers to the internet. When he connected all computers to the internet, then automatically, whenever there are software updates, the company which provides the softwares will know which is a cracked version, which is a paid version. Then that company imposes a fine for this VFX company. So they have imposed around 50 lakhs. Okay, without using the software, without using, sorry, with they are using the softwares without paying the license. So for that reason, they have charged 50 lakhs for the company. So in this manner, so you need to be very careful whenever you are working with the IT service company. So the person who has done this, who has updated the equipment, he is terminated immediate effect. With the immediate effect, he got terminated. So be very careful in the companies. Anyways, coming back to our topic. So we have the Windows and we have a Windows system. So for this Windows system, every 2 weeks, bi-weekly updates will be available. Cumulative updates will be available. Security patches will be available. So all these things should be analyzed by the system administrators or else AWS. So we are not going into the cloud. We are still in the on-premises environment. So all these updates should be analyzed by the administrators who are working in the company for this computers, for this Windows operating system. They have to analyze the updates, whether these updates should be installed or else these updates should be uninstalled. So everything, which type of update should be installed. So everything has to be checked by the IT service company only. So that is what they are saying. So the organization is completely responsible for creating the application, for maintaining the application, for monitoring the application. So including the software updates, security patches, and hardware repairs and performance optimization. All these things should be maintained and monitored by the on-premises staff itself. So which means that each and everything will be in the hands of in the each and everything, each and every equipment related thing or else security related thing or software related thing, everything will be in the hands of on-premises environment only. So that is what they are saying. And then there will be scalability and capacity planning. So for example, there are some servers. Okay, so organization need to accurately forecast their computing needs and provision the sufficient resources to handle the peak workloads. What is the meaning of this? The meaning is, for example, let me explain you in this manner. For example, right now, some big billion days are about to start for the Flipkart, or else some great Indian sales are about to start for Amazon. There are some e-commerce website, or else what I can say, uh, there is a banking application which will provide the loan with the low interest rates. Now, what happens automatically, the number of users who are trying to access that particular application will be increased hugely, humongously. The number of users that are using that application will be increased. So when the load on that particular server is increased, so who has to forecast this? So the IT service company has to forecast this. So whenever there is a special offers that are about to run, this won't, if at all, if you are running the application in two servers, for example, if I am running the application, banking application in this Windows server, and as well as we are running the same application on the identical server, same identical server. If we are running the same application on the another server, then the IT service company has to analyze, okay, the bank is about to give a special offer for the customers. When the special offers are applied, or else when the special offers are given to the customers, why customers will sit silently? Obviously, what they are going to do, they are going to search for the what they are going to do, they are going to invest their amount on that application, on that particular offer. Okay, so automatically the load on that particular servers will be hugely increased. The number of persons that are trying to access this application will be increasing very, very highly. So this forecast has to be done previously only. So the company has to understand the requirement. Okay, if there is a sudden increases, then automatically we need to have a separate server for this. So and another physical server has to be created. So only for this requirement, the company is going to create another physical server, and they have to install the application on that. When the load is decreases, then what is the purpose of this? So we don't require the server. We have to terminate the server. There is another problem. So like this, we will have some problems. Like this, we will have some problems in the on-premises environment. Like if the load is increased, then we have to create another physical server. If the load is not required, there is no use of this physical server. We can remove that. But what is the main use of purchasing that server? So this is waste of investment, waste of money in the on-premises environment. That is what they are saying here. If you see here, if you see in this in this first point, you can clearly see this. Organization need to accurately forecast their computing needs and provision sufficient resources to handle the peak loads. As of now, we are explaining about this concept. We we understood this. And the next one is scaling up and down may require additional hardware procurement and deployment. And the next one is security compliances. Who has to maintain the security for the company? Obviously, the environment, the persons who are working with that company, they have to provide the security for the company. So whoever are working as a security administrators, they have to install the firewalls. So the company should not be wide open to the public. So they should not wide openly give the request to the each and every people all around the world through the internet. So the security measures should be taken. So which type of data should be entered into the company? So what are the different types of firewalls that I have to create, and what are the rules that I have to specify? This type of data should be entered into the servers. This type of data should be restricted into the servers. Only web requests should be allowed into the servers. This is called as access control. And the next one is encryption. Encryption means if there is an employee who is not attending for the company and he is from some XYZ location and he is doing work from home. Nowadays, this is what happening. Everybody knows that after pandemic, what is happening here is each and every person who are working as an employees, they are doing work from home. So whenever they are doing the work from home, what the employees are doing, the employees are connecting to their systems over the internet. So whenever they are connecting to their servers over the internet, so it is not a very good practice to connect to the servers over the internet. Why? Because internet is a very what I can say, it's a non-secure zone. It's an insecure zone. So there will be hackers, there will be normal users. If there are hackers in the internet, what is their main motto? So we have so much work. The hackers don't have the work. Hackers will have only the work to hack the systems. So what they will do, they will try to penetrate some malicious software code into the whenever you are connecting into to your servers, they will try to incorporate some malicious code into that system. So by taking the access of your computers, so they will try to do that. Whenever they are doing that, if at all, if there is no security is provided for your company, no encryption is provided. So without encrypting the data, if the user credentials are transmitted, so if the user has to log into that server, the user should provide the credentials. What is meant by credential? Nothing but username and password. The user has to provide the username and password. If the user doesn't provide the username and password, he will not log in into the server. So this username and password will be transmitted over the internet. For example, the user is residing in somewhere like Mumbai and the company is in Hyderabad. If he want to log in into the server, the company servers are in the Hyderabad. If he want to log in into that server, he needs to provide the username and password. This username and password will be transmitted over the internet. So whenever they are transmitting over the internet, if the transmission is done through in a clear text format, then there will be what I can say, theft will be done. So the user credentials can be stolen by the hackers, and they will try to access your server. So the credentials should be encrypted. So this encryption type, what are the different types of encryption? These are all the things that should be maintained by your organization only. And the next one is, this is about your security. So the encryption compliances with the industrial and regulatory standards. Limited geographical reach. So this is the one of the thing what I have to discuss here is, this is the main thing that we need to understand. What is the point here? The point is limited geographical location. If at all, if you are having the on-premises environment inside the company, if you are having some servers, the servers are stick to that company only, to that location only. If at all, for example, if I am having Hyderabad, I'm having a data center in the Hyderabad. So all around the world, whoever are the application users are there, those has to connect to the servers which are located in Hyderabad. So try to understand. For example, there is a user in US. So if he wants the application, he obviously has to transmit all over the data has to be transmitted all over from US to the India. So it is going to be taking very high latency, huge time to give the application for the user. So that is what they are saying, limited geographical reach, which means that with on-premises computing, organization infrastructure is limited to the physical location where it is established in the data center or server rooms. This can affect the performance and accessibility of the remote users or customers in the different regions. That is what I said. So if at all, if it is stick to the particular location, if there is a limited geographical reach, which means that if the servers are created in a particular location, particular region, then all around the world, if the users are trying to access that application, they have to access by through the internet only. So there will be a very high latency. Latency in the sense the time to access the application. So the time to access the application will be very huge. For example, if there is a user in Hyderabad and the data center is also in the Hyderabad itself, then there will be the user will be easily connected to the servers. Why? Because they both are staying in the same geographical location. The distance is very less. The network connectivity will be very easily happen. But if the users are in the some another distinct location like US, UK, Australia, so different regions, if they want to connect all over from their location, they have the data should be transmitted over the internet cables, and it has to connect to your application. So it is going to take some time. So that is what they are saying. And the responsibility of disaster recovery. So if there is any disaster happens. So when I used to work for a company, yeah, in 2016, I worked as a system administrator for a company. So there is no necessity of taking the name for the name of the company. When I used to work for the system administrator, in 2016, there is a power blackout in Hyderabad for one day. Total power is down. So we have our production servers in the Hyderabad location. So if the production servers at that time, the production servers are running on the generator-based power. Why? Because there is no power. The entire substations are down due to the heavy rains. The power blackout was happened, and we don't have sufficient power to provide for our servers. Then what we have two different types of servers in two different locations. One is at Jaipur and the other one is at some Kolkata, I think. There is a disaster recovery backup server environment, backup data center. So obviously, who has to ship the entire thing? So the data administrators has to shift the entire web application from the primary server, that is the servers are that are created in the Hyderabad location, we have to shift those to the Jaipur location. So this is what we have to take the responsibility of the disaster recovery. Organization need to implement their own disaster recovery strategies and backup solution to protect their data and application from the potential disruptions or failures. If there is any failures, if there is any power failure or networking failure, then automatically the application should be moved into the disaster recovery zone, or else then the automatically the application has to move into the backup zones. Okay, so who has to move? Obviously it is a on-premises environment. So when it is an on-premises environment, obviously the users has to take the responsibility. So we have to send the entire user load from the primary data center to the backup data center. It took all around some 12 hours to transmit that. So it's a very tight situation. We used to work for 24 by 7 for 3 days without sleep. Especially I worked for 24 by 7 for 3 days without having without having a 1 hour of nap also. I used to work for I worked for 3 days, three complete working days, which is a very hectic thing. Okay. Anyways, coming back to this, these are all the characteristics of your on-premises environment. So what is the first one? Ownership and control, physical infrastructure, maintaining the physical infrastructure, capital expenditure, maintaining and operation costs and operations and scalability and capacity planning, security compliances, limited geographical reach and responsibility for the disaster recovery. So these 8 things, 8 steps has to be performed by the each and everything. The whole and soul, entire ownership will be in our hands. We can do whatever we want to do. We have the advantages with the on-premises, and as well as we have the disadvantages. So if you can see, while on-premises computing offers organization full control and customization, we have the full control over the servers. We have the full control over the network. We have the full control over the storage. If we don't want the server, we can terminate the server. We can remove the server from the network. So physical server, I'm talking about the physical server. If I don't want the physical server, I can remove the server from the network. So the ownership will be there. Whenever we are working with the on-premises environment, we have the ownership with the servers. But the point is, it is also requires significant upfront investment. So we have to totally spend our money at the advance only. Whenever we are purchasing the server, we have to pay for the server. Whenever we are purchasing the network equipment like routers, switches, networking cables, firewalls, we have to pay all at a time. So that is what upfront investment should be there. Ongoing maintenance. So when the servers are running, suddenly there is a problem in the RAM. We have to change the RAM. That is what ongoing maintenance is. So who has to bear the expenditure? Obviously, the company has to bear the expenditure. And the expertise to manage and operate the infrastructure effectively. So we need to have a very good knowledge whenever we are working for a company. We need to have a very good knowledge on the servers, how they are working on the applications. So these are the characteristics of the on-premises environment, and these are the problems that you will be affected with the on-premises environment. So any questions about this? Guys, do you have any questions about this? Whatever the on-premises, the environment that we are going through. Any questions? Is it clearly understood? Yeah. Do you have any questions about this? So what is meant by on-premises environment? Do you understand the concept of that? Any questions?
No, sir.
Everybody is very good with the concept. Then we can go with the next thing. Okay. So from the starting onwards, we are discussing that in the on-premises environment, we will have the servers. Whenever we are having the servers, so those physical servers, as you can see the diagram, so we have our physical servers. Inside the physical servers, we are not going with the applications. So what we are going to do here is, inside this physical servers, we are going to install the virtualization. Now, what is the meaning of this virtualization? So here the virtualized environment. So let us suppose take a scenario for this virtualization, and then you will have a clear-cut understanding. So what is the real-time scenario here? Consider a company that have the multiple servers in the data centers. If you are having multiple physical servers in the data center, as per the diagram you can see here, we are having multiple physical servers inside the data center, and this data center, each physical server is equipped with a certain amount of CPU, memory, and storage and network. So you know that. So every server will have its own CPU, will have its own RAM and its storage capacity and the networking capacity. Now everything is having those storage and all the things. These physical servers would run a single operating system. So every physical server, if at all, if you are having a computer, whether it will be whether we will be installing multiple operating systems into that particular computer, we will be using only a single operating system. Either we will be using Windows 10, Windows 11, or else we will be using the Linux operating system. So only single operating system will be installed and host one or few applications. So in that physical server, we are going to host, depending upon the operating system and the environment, we can install one or two application or a few applications. However, this approach often results to the underutilization of the resources. If you take an example, let's say the company has 3 physical servers, each with the 16 CPU cores and 64 GB of RAM and 1 terabyte size of storage. So which means that they are saying here, if you see the diagram, so this is a server with 16 CPU cores, which means that there are 16 core CPUs are there. Okay, for example, normally octa core, quad core, like that we will be talking. There will be a CPU which is octa core processor or else quad core processor. So like that you are having 16 CPU cores. Okay, and some 64 GB of RAM and some 1 TB of hard disk is there. But in this server, you are having, these are the specifications of the server. Now, the other server is also having the same specification: 16 core CPU, 64 GB of RAM, and 1 terabyte size of what I can say storage. And this third server is also having the same equipment. When they are having the same equipment, what is the problem that we are facing here? With the traditional physical server deployment, if each server hosts a single application, so in these servers, we are going to create some application. For example, your banking application like that. We are going to install some applications. Here we are having an application inside the server. In the another server also, we are about to host the same application. In the another server also, we are going to host the same application. On the two servers, we are going to host the same application, so that the load balancing will be done, and as well as the server won't face any huge load. Okay, so to overcome the huge effect of load, what happens, we have to install, we have to go for the, and not only that, for the high availability purpose, if the first server is down, so if at all, if the application is installed only in a single server, if this server is down, then that is called as a single point of failure. So the application will not be available for the end users. If I am installing the application in a single server, then that is called as a single point of failure, so that the application will not be available for the end users. Okay. So to overcome this problem, what we are doing here is we are creating the application in the multiple servers. Whenever we are creating the application on the multiple servers, we need to do the load balancing and all the things we have to do. So what they are saying here, if the application is created in the three physical servers, then there is a situation, there will be a situation that uh, see what they are saying, with the traditional physical server deployment, if each server hosts a single application, there may be instances in the sense there may be times where the application only utilizes a fraction of available resources. So it is not required that application has to utilize all the resources effectively for 24 by 7. For example, try to understand this. The banks or else any stock markets, the stock market servers will be very busy from the morning 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. After 4 p.m., no user will be logging into the server. Every user will be logged out of the server and they will not use the server, which means that the load on the server will be reduced. But at the 9 a.m., the load on the server will be increased. That is what they are saying. So when there will be certain instances where there will be underutilization of your available resources will be happening. This could be due to the variations in the application workload or period of low user activity. So there will be, at certain times, there will be number of users who are accessing the servers will be less, and like that, what will be happened here? The application workload will be less. Due to that, the resources will not be completely utilized. So to overcome this problem, what we are going to do here is we are going for the virtualization. So what is this virtualization? You will come to know about this. So what they are saying here is they are saying that by adopting the virtualization, the company can maximize the resource utilization by running the multiple virtual machines on each physical server. Each virtual machine operates an independent, isolated environment with its own virtualized CPU, memory, and storage and networking resources. So here, what we are going to do here is actually the load on the server will not be very high. So what we are going to do, we are going to create a virtualized software inside the server, and we will be dividing this server into multiple virtual machines. We are going to divide this physical server into the multiple virtual servers, so that each and every resource will be segregated between the virtual servers. For example, I am going to create a virtual server with some 4 CPU. I'm going to create a virtual server with some 4 CPU, and what I can do, some 16 GB of RAM and some 100 GB or some 200 GB of storage. So this is a virtual machine which is created with 4 CPU cores and some 8 GB of RAM and some 100 GB of hard disk space. So these resources will be consumed from your physical server only. The resources that are used for creating these virtual machines are taken from your physical server only. So that what happens, the remaining servers, we can create another virtualized server and we can install the application on this virtualized server. So here the utilization of your resources will be very good happen, very good. The utilization will be well managed. Okay, all the servers will have all the physical, so they will be using the physical resources in an effective manner. So that is what the virtualization is all about. What they are saying, by adopting the virtualization, the company can maximize the resource utilization. They can maximize the resource utilization. So this is about why we are going for the virtualization. This is the real-time scenario. So everyone are using this virtualization nowadays. Each and every company is using the virtualization. Any small companies or else any medium to medium scale companies or the large organization, every organization is using the virtualization technique. So if you see what is meant by virtualization technology, there will be a server hardware. On the server hardware, we are going to install the virtualization software. Either it might be VMware ESXi or else it might be Citrix Gen servers. If at all, if you are using the Windows operating system, there is a Hyper-V application is available. Like that, there are multiple applications that are utilized or multiple virtual operating systems are available, virtual softwares are available. So on that virtualization software, what we are going to do here is we are going to create the virtual servers. This is virtual server 1, virtual server 2, and we are going to install our operating system or our own operating system. Either we can install the Windows operating system in first virtual machine, and we can install the Linux operating system in the second virtual machine. Okay, and on to that we can run our applications. So now what they are saying, virtualization technology refers to the software and hardware technologies that enable the creation and management of virtual resources such as virtual machines. So, are virtualized networks on the physical servers and computers. It allows for the abstraction of physical resources and creation of the virtualized environment that can be multiply operating system, that can run multiple operating systems and applications simultaneously. So what they are saying, virtualization technology refers to a software and hardware technology that enables the creation and management of virtual resources such as virtual machines. We are about to create the virtual machines and we will be managing those virtual servers. So that is what they are saying. It allows the abstraction of physical resources. So from where the virtual machines will be created, from where the resources for these virtual machines will be taken. The resources for these virtual machines will be taken from your physical servers only. By taking from the physical servers, we are going to create this virtual machines and virtualized environment will be created. Our multiple operating systems will be created and we can run multiple applications on that virtualized systems. And what is meant by virtualization technology? Virtualization technology operates by introducing a layer known as hypervisor or virtual machine monitor. Here you can see there is a new layer, and this layer is called as this software is entire responsibility for your virtualization. So what it is going to do, known as hypervisor and virtualization monitor between the underlying hardware and the virtualization system. The hypervisor manages and allocates the physical resources. Who will allocate the physical resources for our applications, for our virtual machines? What are the VMs that are running? So who will allocate the resources? This hypervisor will understand the requirement. So okay, this server is requiring huge resources, so I have to allocate from the physical server. So from the physical server, it is going to collect the resources. It is going to provide the resources by communicating with the hardware and providing that hardware resources to our virtual machines. So who is whole and sole responsible for this virtualization? Hypervisor is the whole and sole responsibility. It will take the whole and sole responsibility. The hypervisor manages and allocates the physical resources of the host server, such as CPU, memory, storage, and network among the virtual machines. And next one, if you take here, what are the different types of hypervisors that we are having? So hypervisors are two types. One is bare metal hypervisor and hosted hypervisor. We can call them as type 1 hypervisor and type 2 hypervisor. So here you will see this installed directly on the physical server. So here you are having a hardware like CPU, RAM, and you are having a cabinet. So onto that cabinet, we will be directly installing the virtual machines. Okay, we will be directly installing this virtual hypervisor software. By installing this hypervisor software, we are going to run our applications. So this is going to happen. So hypervisor itself will be acting like an operating system for our computer. If you go to the type 2 hypervisor, there will be hardware. On the hardware, you will be running the operating system. On the operating system, you will be installing an application or else any virtualization software. So I will show you the type 2 hypervisor. Onto that, we are going to run some of the virtual machines and we will be installing some applications. So this is about your virtualization. What are the different types of virtualizations that we are having and how we are going to configure that virtualization. Now, the next point here is what are the benefits of the virtualization? So first of all, we have seen the on-premises environment. In the on-premises environment, we will have the physical servers, and now we are going through the virtualization. Server consolidation. The first one is server consolidation. The meaning is, so here multiple servers are running on your hypervisor. Multiple servers are running on your virtualization software. When multiple servers are running, one server will not communicate with the another server. There is no connection between one server and the another server. So complete isolation will be there. That is what they are saying. Consolidation in the sense virtualization enables the consolidation of multiple servers or workloads onto fewer physical servers, leading to the better resources and cost saving. Isolation, each virtual machine or container is isolated from the another virtual machine. One virtual machine will not have any connectivity to the another virtual machine. So is from the providing enhanced security and reducing the risk of application interfering with each other. Flexibility and scalability. So previously, the main point why we are moving from on-premises to the from the physical server to the virtual servers is that this flexibility and scalability. Suddenly, there is a huge requirement of resources. Then in the physical servers, we have to physically install the resources, which is very difficult. So we have to shut down the servers and then we have to increase the resource capacity, which is very what I can say uncommon. No production server should take it down. So they cannot shut down. Why? Because 24/7 any user will be logging into that server. So the server should be continuously running. So by using this virtualization, we can scale up in the sense we can increase the servers or else we can decrease the servers without shutdowning the servers. So there will be flexibility and scalability and improved disaster recovery and high availability. So these are the one of the benefits of your virtualization. Now we will be going into the cloud. So we will discuss about the what is meant by cloud and what are the benefits that are offered, what are the limitations that are given by the on-premises environment. All these limitations can be overcome with the help of the cloud computing. So how we are going to do that and what are the concepts of cloud and each and everything we will discuss in the next class. So I hope you got some of the concept regarding on-premises environment, what is meant by on-premises environment, and what are the characteristics of on-premises environment, what are the limitations of the on-premises environment, and what is meant by virtualization. Virtualization is the base for your entire cloud computing. Without virtualization, there is no cloud computing. So whatever the servers that we are creating in the cloud, those are all totally the virtualized servers only. Whatever the instances in AWS or virtual machines in Azure, everything is a virtualized server only. So we are going to take the virtualized server and we will be creating those servers. So that's about your virtualization concept. Okay, I hope you understand this concept. We will discuss about the cloud, what is meant by cloud, benefits of the cloud, development of the cloud, and then we will be going with why we require the cloud, what are the limitations that are there in the physical environment. Those limitations will be overcome with the cloud computing. And then we will be discussing about the types of service models, and then we will be going further into the concept of networking. So tomorrow, at any cost, I have to complete this why cloud and what is the development of the cloud, how cloud was developed. And later on, from Thursday onwards, I need to start the networking concept. So that's all for today. Any questions you can ask me now. Questions, guys.
Sir, it is
Questions,
going into the AWS admin though, sir.
of course.
how much can we claim after this course around 3 years, 3 plus experience in AWS?
You are not audible. You are not audible. Can you speak? Can you speak a little bit louder?
Now audible, sir? Now clear, sir?
Yeah, yeah. Tell me.
This course is about AWS admin, right? So after this course, can we claim around 3 plus experience in as a AWS admin, sir?
That completely depends upon how you are doing the practicals. Without doing the work, without learning the concept, if you claim 3 years, the interviewer play a game with you. Okay, so I cannot say that you can claim some 3 years or 4 years of experience. I can say that you can claim 3 years simply. What is there for me? Okay, but without doing the practicals, if you claim 3 years also, when you go for the interview, the interviewer will play you like hell with you. Okay, so claiming is not important. You can claim 3 years or 4 years. You can make up to 4 years also, no problem. But the point is, whenever you are attending the interview without preparing, then that will affect you. Do you understand the content? What I'm
Yes,
saying?
sir.
Okay, so with the help of this course, yes, you can claim, but you have to prepare. Okay.
So definitely, sir. We will have our hands on definitely on the concept.
Why? Because I will provide the entire hands-on experience for you. So every time, whatever we are discussing here, everything will be the hands-on practical only. Okay. It will take some 60 classes to complete the course. It's not a small course. It will take another 2 months to complete. So the point what you need to understand here is how we are going to work out on this. Everybody will be working in the companies. So I know some students will say that, sir, I did not find time to do the practical. So what is the, whenever you are learning, you have to do the practical. Okay. That is what I can say. Everything is a practical oriented sessions for you. You will find out. Okay. So that's about your cloud computing. So we
Sir,
need to discuss about the Yes.
can you show me the contents, sir, once if possible? What are the major services that we need to concentrate as admin?
You can go through the DURGASOFT.com. So that why not that maybe the server is down. Anyways, hold on. I will show you. I think I have this. I already gave in the DURGASOFT website, but unfortunately, see that these are the syllabus. So introduction to cloud computing, which we are doing right now, and then we will be discussing about the VPC concept, VPC pairing, NAT gateway, security group. These are all comes under the VPC only. And the next one is EC2 instances. So in the EC2 instances, we'll be discussing about volumes, AMIs, and snapshots, and then templates, spot instances, reservations, and then we'll be going with the load balancers like application load balancer and network load balancer, auto scaling groups, and the systems manager, AWS S3, and then we'll be going with the databases, CloudWatch, IAM, certificate manager. So these are all the concepts that are going to be covered in your AWS course. Okay.
Sir, any context like migration from premises to on-premises to cloud or cloud to this connectivity, that also will get covered, right?
Do you have the VMware ESXi server with you?
No, sir. I do not have
Then there is a migration topic which I can say you with, but without this on-premises ESXi server, you cannot do the migration practical. So if I have to show you, I can show you that we need to have a huge infrastructure requirement, but I will tell you in the theoretical manner how to do the migration. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. And one more thing is, everybody are asking me about this migration only. So at least in a class, I will encounter with one of the students who is requesting for the migration. What do you will think about this migration? when you update the migration in your resume, the interviewer, you will get the calls only on the migration services only. They will not be concentrating on the remaining services. And when you attend to the interview, he will show you the hell itself. I can assure you that only the questions will be coming from the migration point of view only. So normal interviewer will be like, see, when you attend to the interviews, you need to save yourself. You need to save yourself in the sense you need to protect yourself without going into the trouble. So if you add this word called as migration, I having an immense knowledge in. So I know that there are students who will be updating the resume in this format. I have an immense knowledge in the migration. So when you add this, that's only the thing you will be caught out by your interviewer. Okay. What is meant by migration? What are the different types of migrations in the AWS? What is meant by snow cone? What is meant by snowball? What is meant by snow mobile? Okay, and how what is meant by data synchronization? He will play like hell with you. Okay, so don't mention the migration. If you want, I can show you in the theoretical manner. But if you underlayingly showing that I know migration in the, if you update migration, data migration, then that interview is gone for you. Okay, so be very careful whenever you are updating your strategies. Okay. So that is from my end. I hope you understand the session. Tomorrow we will discuss about a remaining concept about how cloud will be configured. What are the benefits of configuring the clouds? Okay. So that's all for today. We'll meet in the next session and discuss more and more topics. Have a nice day and bye. Any further questions you want to ask me, or you can ask me, or else we can terminate the session. Is that everything clear for you?
Sir, one question on the
Mhm.
hypervisors. So,
Mhm.
what are the scenarios like when we can use a bare metal hypervisor and when it is recommended to use a hosted
In, a,
hypervisor?
in all organizations, you will be using the bare metal only.
Okay.
For client side and for your testing purpose in your laptops or desktop, you will be going with the hosted hypervisors.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yes. That's it, guys. I hope you understand the session. We'll meet in the next session and discuss more and more topics on the cloud computing. Have a nice day and bye. And one more thing is that one thing I want to suggest you, don't miss this opportunity. I know there are only a few students who are attending to the sessions, but the point here is if you miss this opportunity, missing of this opportunity in the sense, see, nobody will say you about the Terraform. I can assure you that with AWS, no another company, no another institute will tell you the Terraform. Terraform nowadays, it's a very important topic. Every company is requesting the candidate to have a knowledge on Terraform. So that we are providing here. Okay, if you miss this opportunity, I cannot do anything. So nobody will help you. So why? Because if you can go through the job descriptions also, they are requesting the candidates to have a knowledge on Terraform, infrastructure related code analysis entering. So Terraform is completely like an IAC in the sense infrastructure as a code. We are going to develop our code with the we are going to develop our infrastructure with the help of code. So don't miss this opportunity. This is a very good opportunity for you to crack the interview. So with the AWS content, what you are getting from this course, you can crack the certification. And if you learn the Terraform concepts, you can crack the interviews. So don't miss this opportunity. Anyways, that's totally in your hand whether to join or not to join. That I'm not responsible for that. But what I can show you, what I can surely tell you here is no other institute will provide you this offer with this price. Whatever the price that they are providing, some 6,000 rupees with Terraform and AWS. I don't know. You can check out that. And the total classes, like the other faculties or else other institutes, I'm not going to cover the AWS within 10 days, 15 days. The total AWS topic will be all around 60 working days. So huge time it is going to take. Okay, so I won't take it as a silly concepts. I will take every concept as a serious concept. Everything will be a practical oriented thing. Okay, so try to utilize the opportunity. That's it from my end. Have a nice day and bye.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Thank you.